Taking some time to freshen up, the party prepared themselves for the gala. Flynn joined the group as they got dressed up and spiffy. With little time, Karenina put together a fantastic display, bringing forth many of the wealthiest nobles of Mace. Most were there to simply enjoy the festivities, eat the food, and pledge their support, though all were there to gossip. With rumors and speculation flying, the champions found themselves trying to navigate the politics they've suddenly been submersed in.
So you sit down to the feast, and food is brought out to you, and Sir Raynor, as you know him, Karenina, walks over from where he was watching in horror as Kreg devoured the hors d'oeuvre table, nearly literally, and places down a plate of silver loquat next to you, knowing your affinity for the fruit. But then the servants come out with platters of cooked meats, stews, soups. There are towers of fruit carved in exotic ways. There is several odd dishes, melted cheeses drizzled over meats you can't identify, but feel they're just cooked in odd ways, or maybe they're exotic animals you'd never even seen. Grilled fish seasoned with honey. There's a plethora of different cuisines available for you to sample, to savor, or in Kreg's case, to unhinge his jaw and pour down out of a dump truck like Wacko Warner.
Yes!
Meet the champion, everyone.
You are sitting next to a human woman who is introduced as Countess Emblaine Forsyth.
Hi!
She has ringlets of reddish-brown curls. She has a very fine posture. She's wearing a corset that makes it impossible for her to not have a very fine posture. And you are just, like, stuffing chunks of fish in your mouth, like, they're good! And she just, like, has this look on her face, like, oh my god.
Pretty much, I feel like I get a giant drumstick, goes into the mouth, and just bone when he pulls it out.
Yeah. You do that with a fish, like a fish bone, too.
Yep.
At the same time, one in either cheek. The king waves a servant over, points at Kreg, and the servant says something, and he shakes it, the king shakes his head and kind of makes this gesture of more, and the servant looks at him like, what? Just more. And servants begin, like, prioritizing food over to Kreg, almost like if we keep him fed, he won't end up on the table going after someone else's. We're just piling it up near him to keep him localized.
Yeah, no, that checks out.
Yeah, no, that works perfectly.
And this poor countess is just looking like, why? Why are you encouraging this?
Yeah, I won a title at the Boiling Kettle. They gave me lots of food, too.
But Jelltur, you are seated by Sebastian, of course, because he is just chatting your ear off.
That's whatever.
Piper, you and Flynn are seated by the family, the Zillions that you were chatting with as well. And Scratch, you are seated with the Lords Ossos.
Mr. and Mr.
Mr. and Mr. Ossos. Karenina, you are seated near the king. Not like his right hand. You're on his left. His son is at his right.
No, naturally.
Oh, Karenina, it seems you did a commendable job.
Oh, thank you, Your Majesty.
It seems the nobles are enjoying themselves. The heroes are eclectic.
Yes, but it's part of their charm, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes. How long do you think before that one pops?
Well, hopefully until after the trifle for dessert, don't you think?
But if he pops before, that's more trifle for us.
Well, I did talk to Cook, and it is one of the finest ones that she thinks she's ever made, so maybe if we're lucky.
I look forward to this.
Oh god, she's trunchable.
So, the meal is served, and there's some light chatter. Piper, you are sitting there, and Flynn's actually going to turn to Regis.
Mm-hmm.
So, has there been any word on the Black Suns? Blackened Suns. Regis corrects him. Yeah, 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. They haven't really made any demands. Though there's rumors that... kind of lowers his voice. The prince has actually been in contact with them. Trying to seal the rift? Not exactly. Almost like... it seems like he's almost appeasing them. Or trying to. His father, with the lockdown, kid can't get out and talk to anybody. Plus, his health took a turn, and usually, Kethra would be able to be his messenger girl, but she hasn't been able to get in and out of the city as easily anymore. You know how much she liked coming in the first place. Flynn kind of nods, like, yeah. And so this conversation kind of goes on for a little bit, and you see that, Alessa, she's kind of blocking it, but her head tilts just enough to listen.
I imagine mine is kind of doing a similar tilt, just like listening, but like pretending to, be polite and not.
Mm-hmm. And Avery's, eating, feeding some to the cat, playing with the cat, eating, feeding some to the cat. Mostly it's the bites of fish she doesn't want.
Yeah. And he's being a good companion, because I do know how rough formal events are for young ones. So it's like, and he's very well behaved, so.
Yeah, that's what you're hearing. Scratch, you're sitting there, and Nicholas Ossos is kind of going on, all I'm saying is this alliance is going to be the end of us. Dear, it's not going to be the end of us. She is unbearable! Take it from me, I know how unbearable elves can be, but Queen Othiana will be the end of Mace. She's not going to be the end of Mace.
Did I hear that? Wait a minute.
You make a perception check. He's not really being all that quiet.
So perception, 14, 18.
Yeah, you definitely... He's not being subtle or quiet.
I've heard that name before. Who is that person?
Who is that person? And then, Traytel will hold his hand up. Nicholas, remember, he's not from our region or culture. It's not unusual that people like him, foreigners, wouldn't know about politics that doesn't involve them.
No, you meant cat. He meant cat. Don't try to play it off.
You see Nicholas kind of get in a huff, but Traytel will turn and go, she's the queen of the Elthroon region, queen of the High Elves. There's been some tension between our two kingdoms, ever since the cleansing, but that was over 1,000 years ago. It's still unacceptable. It wasn't her reign. She's a different woman. There was some unpleasantness over 1,000 years ago in the Elthroon region, and it kind of led to the founding of Mace. Now, she's kind of giving an olive branch to build a, especially with the gods missing and all the tensions in the world, she's trying to build a bridge across the ocean. Not literally, of course, but create an alliance between the two kingdoms that we can get over our sordid pasts with one another.
So what's the downside here?
Not a lot of people trust Althiana.
Oh, hi, Jelltur.
After the cleansing of Elthroon, how much of the history do you know?
Not a lot.
Same.
We try not to involve ourselves.
Isolationism. It sometimes works, but as the world becomes more global... Anyway, Altroon, the elves were tired of the other races in their cities, so the Sun Elves kind of committed genocide and racial cleansing. This kind of triggered the Great Migration. All the races that weren't accepted within the kingdom were chased off. The only races that really remained were the High Elves, high-ranking half-elves who were part of family lines, and gnomes were allowed to stay. Everyone else was either killed or escaped, and there were some that moved south and formed Porate's Fist. Some moved into the wilds, and we have many of our tribes. But there were quite a few brave or stupid humans that decided to attack the Altroon naval ships that were in port. Some were successfully commandeered and sailed by these humans and assorted other races, but mostly human, across the ocean, found this land, and began building the Kingdom of Mace. But you can understand why the people of Mace may not be so keen on aligning themselves with the country that started ours through genocide.
I could understand if it was still the same people.
Hurt like that runs deep. And he just kind of pats Nicholas on the arm. Almost like a it's okay kind of gesture.
Like they said, it happened quite some time ago, and this is a new ruler, and she does seem to want to make some sort of amends.
That is true. And with the incoming Drow army, and you see Nicholas kind of get, crosses his arms and pushes his shoulders up, almost like creating a shield against the idea. We could need some aid. Aid from them.
Like I said, friends, maybe never, but allies against the Drow who want to slaughter everyone, elves and non-elves included, I think maybe making an alliance would probably be for the best in this situation.
Rumph. You see from Nicholas, but Traytel is... That's what I've been trying to get across, and one of the reasons why I am willing to put some of my family's fortune into the defenses of Mace, but I feel there needs to be a little more proactive effort as well.
Proactive how?
Well, after the Morning Stars split, we're down a bit. Maybe reach out to allies, build an army rather than a defense force. But we don't really have much in the way of a formal military here, which is problematic. We have guards, we have the Morning Stars, but they're not meant to fight a war. And it seems like a war is brewing to be fought.
You hear from the end of the table, "Oh, and I have to say that he looks so much more normal now that he has those sandals instead of those ridiculous shoes that he kept. Do you know he took them off in the hallway?"
You don't say.
Yes, I mean, you would think the poor boy grew up among the orcs.
Why is she calling him a boy? How dare she? He's a grown-ass man.
Piper's hand on the glass just tightens a little bit.
Make a strength check.
My strength is absolute shit.
Good.
7 minus -1, so 6.
Alright, so you tighten on the glass, but you don't break it. Flynn, however, just kind of reaches over and pushes your hand down a little bit, like, maybe let that go. But Traytel will continue, Jelltur. No, the split, they don't agree with relying on the Altrun Navy or military to defend Mace, so they're not fans of the Alliance. They wanted to form their own military. The king said no. There was tensions within the ranks, and rather than allowing everything to just come crashing down, a bunch of the Morning Stars left. They just walked out of the city one day. They threw their red cloaks on the ground and kept going. Didn't leave the armor or the weapons, but...
I mean, but where would they have gone at that point, though?
Into the forest to create a band of merry men, for all I know. I just know that the king doesn't want to speak of them, hear of them. The prince, he's been in contact with them, according to rumor, if you believe rumor. Which I feel there's more truth to rumors than lies, but don't take them as gospel.
Fair. I feel like people are letting the past stop them from going to the future here.
Shocking.
Yes. I'm seeing the issue. I'm seeing the issue here.
To be fair, a lot of the Blackened Suns weren't against the Alliance. They were against not forming our own military on top of it.
Oh, no, I can understand that. You guys have a military?
Not official capacity. The Morning Stars are the closest thing we have to a military, and they're just elite castle guard.
So, wait, what?
Wait, you have no military?
So wait, what's the plan then when the drow come? Wait, I'm confused.
No, hang on, Jelltur. I've got this one. What was your plan then if there's no one to defend your city?
We have guards. We have the Morning Stars. We have defenders. Mace is built to withstand a siege. We are able to grow food within the walls. We are able to basically cut ourselves off from the world entirely and be okay. The idea
But for
is
how long?
we have actually had these doors sealed shut for nearly a decade. One time, it was back during the War of Blood and Steel, but
Oh, I liked that book.
we can withstand a siege. Well, if you ever read Milo Toskobel's collection on the Heroes of Solane, you'll hear some stories from that war. But the plan is usually to starve out the attackers, have them burn through all of an army marches on its stomach. And when morale starts to dip, when people start to starve or freeze to death, they go home. That's the plan. The problem is a lot of people, Nicholas included, feel that relying on a foreign military for defense would just mean our own death.
It's less relying, more using to your advantage.
It's true, but there are many that feel we should have our own formal military.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly, considering that these drow aren't just attacking with just themselves. They're using all sorts of manners of abominations that I have had personal experience with one of them.
I mean, a good defense is only useful if the attacker just decides to give up.
I mean,
Let me tell you, some of these things don't want to give up.
pound your head against a wall for 10 years. See if you don't want to give up.
Some of these things don't want to give up. It's the best way I could put it.
I see both sides of this argument. I'm not saying that either side is right or wrong. I'm just saying this is where the disagreement comes in.
I understand, but I don't think defecting is the appropriate response to that, though.
There was more to it than just we should have a military. No, it was very much they didn't feel that their voices were being listened to.
And so they made their own voice.
And we are down half our Morning Stars because of it. Even more
Wow.
heavily reliant upon the Altrun military.
And my thing is, they split off. What does that exactly accomplish?
I couldn't tell you. A guerrilla band of rebels ready to strike out against the army at the gates?
Yeah, the army at the gates is going to literally slaughter them where they stand. Let me ask you, can the people that defected see in the dark?
Well, we have some half-elves in there. Mostly humans, but there are half-elves.
Yes, and about how many of them are there?
Well, we started with about 200 morning stars. 100 left, give or take. And probably 10% would be half-elven.
10% of 100, so it's like 10 half-elves to an army of creatures that all can see in the dark.
Yeah, Jelltur, I feel like they don't quite understand what is on its way.
Even then, I don't think leaving the city that you were trying to protect was the appropriate response as well.
Well, to be fair, this army, we only just learned of this particular army. This was a long-standing argument. They didn't leave to go fight this war. They left because...
Oh, fair, but even then, in a different war, what did they think 100 people would... It's like, what did they think 100 people would accomplish?
More than zero.
What?
I honestly couldn't tell you what their motivations were, because I'm not a morning star and I am not a blackened sun. I am just a man who runs an apiary.
That's understandable. I'm not a soldier myself, but I'm just like, I don't see the logic in splitting the forces. It's like, I don't see the logic in splitting the forces. It's like that defeats the purpose even more. But okay.
And Nicholas just leads in, exactly, we are stronger together. We don't need these filthy elves. And you see Traytel just give him a look. He goes, not what I meant. I know what you meant.
Not what I meant either. But you know what? Props for capitalizing on that. I gotta give him props to that one. He saw the target. He took the shot. I can't even front on that one. Yeah, I'm done here. I'm done here.
So as Jelltur leaves, I turn to Traytel and I say, so tell me more about these bees.
So dinner is cleared away, and dessert is brought out. And the king walks around schmoozing a little bit, talking to people. He has Karenina doing the same, basically trying to get people to offer money or troops or something to the defense of Mace.
In the background, you hear Karenina saying to somebody, they came all the way from Brath, and from what I understand, the town was simply pulverized, simply burned to the ground. I heard they came here on a giant frog.
She's mostly right.
And as he passes each of you all, he will give a kind word or ask you, how have you been enjoying the party so far?
There's just a rumbling in his stomach.
Is that hunger, or have you just eaten too much?
And a belch
Oh,
that
no.
is as impressive as any giant could do.
There it is.
That echoes throughout the hall.
Well, I'm glad to see you've made room, little one. And he pats you on your stomach.
Thanks.
Because dessert will soon be out.
Oh, yeah.
The countess next to you gets up, she excuses herself and leaves.
Oh, yes.
And she gets up and says, I'm out of here.
You are a gracious king.
I do my very best.
Sebastian likes you too. As he's just staring at the king, basically apathetic, just chewing on the fruit.
A lemur may look at a king, but would he dare to wear his crown? I don't know.
But when he dared to wear his crown. So the king will continue around. I'm just going to kind of go circle around to where Piper and Flynn are sitting. And how have you two enjoyed the festivities?
It has been quite enjoyable. Thank you for allowing, myself and Flynn to be a part of the evening's festivities.
Of course, of course. It's always lovely to have a member of the Temple of the Shining Morning here, especially one that still holds to his beliefs. We need faith in these times, regardless of what anyone else is saying. And Flynn just kind of gives him this stiff smile and nod. He doesn't really know how to articulate at the moment, but then the king will kind of lean over to you, Piper, and go, would it be too much of a bother to ask you to perform that song of yours? The Dragon Slayer song.
I would be honored to.
I appreciate it. Once I go back to my seat, if you wouldn't mind taking up your instrument, I feel it might go a long way to loosening some purse strings. Also, I haven't gotten a chance to hear it myself.
I would be honored.
Thank you.
I kind of give Flynn's arm a little bit of a squeeze. Because I know how he felt about that conversation as well, so.
He seems a little stiff and not fearful, but like intimidated.
No, I know.
And he'll circle around to where Jelltur is sitting. Ah, I've heard rumors of the Dragon Slayer himself being here.
I look around.
Humility is admirable, boy, but in a setting like this, you want people to be impressed by you. It's like hiding in plain sight. He pats you on the shoulder and he walks away.
Just like, I look around. It's crazy. Is Dragon Slayer here? It's wild. Who told you?
Why, yes, my boy. I believe he was referring to you, Sebastian says a little drunk.
I forget you here. I forget you here. That's crazy.
Oh, yes, I've been here talking this whole time.
I have legitimately... Yes. This has been a fantastic talk.
And he comes around to you, Scratch. Well now, how did you enjoy your first foray into a human celebration?
Well, I can say your human celebrations are certainly quieter.
Oh no.
It is interesting.
Yes, they tend to prefer things on the duller side around here. In our younger days, we would have probably had far more drinking and far more music. But when you run a country, sacrifices must be made. So he'll make his way back to his throne. He'll sit and he'll gesture as dessert and coffee is being served. He'll gesture to Piper, who I believe will get up and perform the Jelltur the Dragon Slayer.
I will. And I didn't actually confirm whether or not I brought down, I was allowed to bring my viol, right?
Yes, you could have brought your viol.
Okay. Awesome.
But Piper, I will ask you to make a performance check, and considering the entire evening people have been talking you up or rumors have been spreading about you, you may add renown.
Yes! Alright.
Yeah, I helped. I helped a little.
Yeah, you did help a little.
Piper is like really upset. She does not want to have to thank Karenina.
I really don't want to have to thank you for this. 24?
24. While it's not the kind of response you're used to getting when you play, because you're used to taverns, you have a captive audience, and at the end there is a polite applause. It's enthusiastic, but it is polite. It is the kind that you would expect from nobles, and while hard to read, you know you did good.
I absolutely just, a wink to Flynn.
He kind of just smiles, and he says something to Regis.
See, she is really quite a good performer, even if she doesn't have a lick of magical talent.
That's right.
Wow! Wow!
But does she hear it? Nope. Probably
No,
not.
not over.
Her voice carries, though. She has that kind of fucking voice.
But you also have the sound of Sebastian, like, next to Jelltur. It's about you! Yes, I know, that song, it's all about you! What is it like to hear such a beautiful woman singing about you in such a wonderful way? Everyone, it's him right here! The song's about him!
See, I was ignoring him up until he started pointing at me.
Well, here's the best part, is there are some people that are listening to him, a lot of people are ignoring him because he's drunk. So there's that mix of, is he? Is that the guy? Does it matter? That's a good point.
So people that look at me, so people that do address me, I go like this, like, I do that whole, like, nah, it's not me.
Make a persuasion check.
You bitch. That's a dick move.
Well, technically,
You said
deception, 'cause it
persuasion?
is you.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's deception, that's even okay. Deception's better. 21.
21. It's not so much that they believe you as they just don't care.
Good.
They more don't
even
believe
better.
you.
If they don't care, that's also good for me.
Yeah, I feel there are two things. One, that, and two, the amount of gorging Kreg is doing is disgusting, but also a little impressive to some of these people.
There's more chocolate than gnome on his face.
Yeah.
And
I feel like at some point the cook comes out and comes over and finds Kreg and is like, "Oh, so I hear you're the one who's been eating all of my food.
It's delicious.
Good
What?
job. There's more where that came from, my friend."
And as the cook is there, he lets out another giant belch, but this one actually pushes him backwards on his chair and flat on his back on the ground.
Very nice. The cook claps him on the back and like
He's taking.
walks away like, "Ha ha ha ha! That's my kind of boy."
it's like the first dwarf you've seen here.
Nice.
But Corim, the prince, will actually approach you, Piper, at the end of the performance. And Korth is there to help him, like, walk, because he's not able to walk very easily. And he'll just go, "It's really great to hear that there's people out there doing such amazing things. Thank you for sharing this.
We certainly try.
It's my greatest wish to do more for this world. Hopefully one day I'll be well enough to do so." And you can see him, like, visibly getting more and more exhausted. And Korth will kind of, like, reposition and go, "We should get you to bed, Prince Corim."
I would be glad to tell you some more stories if you would like to hear some.
I would, but I'm tired tonight. Maybe tomorrow, if you are still here.
Sure.
Hey Brian,
Yes?
just a question. What would be the mechanics for me making a medicine check on him?
At this distance, I would say disadvantage because you're trying to, like, gauge medical knowledge without being close enough to really get in there and look. But you might be able to get kind of an overview.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind walking him upstairs.
You can definitely help us, miss, if you like, Korth says.
Of course.
So go ahead and roll that, Matt, before he gets away.
Yeah, I just want to make just a cursory medicine check, I guess. You said at disadvantage?
Disadvantage because of the distance.
Okay, well, definitively 13 on the die, so 20.
Young man, doesn't seem to be anything wrong with him outside of his body just not working. You can't actually think of a legitimate reason why this young man would be sick. He doesn't look like he has any other markers outside of the exhaustion and the atrophied muscles, which are probably caused by lack of use. You don't think this is a natural illness.
Some kind of magical illness.
That is also a reason why I kind of want to spend a little bit more time. Maybe who or whatever is in the necklace might have some insight on this.
All right, well, you help Korth get him to his bedroom. They thank you, but Korth informs you that his nurse will be there to help change him into his sleeping gown, and as it is the prince, privacy is requested.
Oh, of course. I just wanted to let the prince know that we met his friend Kethra before, and she was a great help, and I'm sure she sends her best wishes to you.
I will let him know, and if you wish to speak with him about this tomorrow, you are welcome to do so. He tends to rise probably around mid-morning. So, unlike me, he does not rise with the sun.
He rises alright.
He kind of waits for you to
I'll go. Yeah.
So you go.
And just kind of like walking back to the main hall, just quietly just tap on the necklace like, do you know what's going on with Prince?
You don't get an answer.
How dare you speak to me? How dare you try to speak to me?
The audacity!
But you don't get an answer.
The lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch.
I was just curious, that's all. Okay. I'll return to the party.
So the party winds down. The king excuses himself. Karenina is being the good hostess, doing her duty to chat with people as she also ushers them out the door in the politest way possible.
And reminds them to give generously.
To give generously, and a lot of people are promising to give generously. They're not giving specific numbers, but they're promising.
Okay, and she's like slipping in like little reminders of like, oh, and I'm sure that your daughter's upcoming debut ball will go swimmingly, assuming the city's still standing. Oh, like these like weird little like backhanded ways to be like, fuck you, defend the city.
Yeah.
Does she know any other way other than backhandedly?
She does. She chooses not to.
I see.
Is there anything anyone else would like to do as the party is winding down before you head back to your room for a long rest?
Kreg is just gonna pass out in a food coma at this point.
Servants are sent to
Yeah.
drag you back to your room.
The cook comes out with a little doggy bag of like after dinner mints and snacks for him.
There's like one on each limb, just trying to carry his food coma self, and the cook just drops a bag on his stomach, and all of them just kind of, ugh!
Yep. Exactly.
So is there anything else you guys are doing before you retire?
I mean, say goodbye to the Zillion family
Yeah.
and just
Get your cat back. Avery will hand you Tootie
Yeah.
back, smile, and say, thank you.
of course.
I will say goodbye to my new friends as well.
The Lords Osos?
Yes.
Nicholas is kind of abashed at this point after his elves comment. He knows he's sleeping on the couch tonight. Trade tell is perfectly pleasant. It was lovely speaking with you, my friend. If you ever want to try any of that stuff straight from the tap, we live in the Castle District. Just ask a guard. They'll point you in the right direction. Either that or follow the smell of flowers.
I think I will. This was very interesting.
I'd imagine so. I didn't bring the best here, so there's some nice aged casks in my basement.
Well, I hope to see you again.
Very well. And they head off. Jelltur, I'm assuming you give your friend the slip?
Ooh, Sebastian?
Yeah, Sebastian.
No, I need to give him a slip. I thought he was drunk.
He is drunk, but he's like, and there's another time when we were hunting a great elk. Is a dragon like anything like an elk?
Is he like hanging on his neck?
No, he's a large human man. He would kill Jelltur.
Oh, okay.
He's got his arm like slung around his wife, who is apparently able to keep him up as they head toward the door. Like, you gotta get.
I look at her and say, "You got him right.
Yeah, I'm used to this.
You have a good night."
And she kind of just waves and heads off.
Oh, then that was interesting.
It was certainly an interesting night.
Yeah. Didn't know about the whole split thing with the Morning Stars and that they didn't have a military, so that's a.
I cannot even.
Yeah.
In my tribe, we all fight. We are the military.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys don't have a formal military either, but it's like band together kind of militia.
We don't have a formal military because we are the military.
Yeah, but at least you have...
Claw.
You have people. Wait, what?
Claw extends. We are the military.
Oh, so I thought that was the name of your military, Claw, and I was not gonna lie to you about to lose my shit.
That is its name.
So, is that...
We are the claw of the tribe.
Now, you mean that... like, literally, figuratively, both?
Extends claw. Both.
Yeah, I bet you are, man. I bet you are. Oh, man. Scratch, you're right. Oh my god, you sure you don't put milk in your alcohol?
Not all of it.
Not all the milk or not all the alcohol.
Oh shit. Cat people. Oh my god.
That got me.
I look forward to him visiting the village.
I want to visit your village. This shit sounds fucking like hilarious. Oh my god.
Because none of this is guaranteed to be true. I could just be fucking with
You
him.
could just be fucking with me and it'd be the best thing ever.
You show up and there's like a futuristic city with flying cars and a formal military of robots. What the fuck? What I told you at first seemed more believable.
Cat.
We just hide it very
I always
well.
knew cats were devious, but fuck.
It's like Wakanda, only with cat people.
It's Katkanda.
Kanda.
Oh my god.
So you are eventually ushered from the room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure by Karenina.
Mm.
Oh no, she's coming in, man. I need to leave this room. I'll leave.
Oh, do you guys leave before Karenina comes over?
Jelltur definitely does. Not with you in that giant pink dress. I'm sorry.
You just hear the swishing of the pink dress as Karenina approaches.
And the little bird.
Jelltur, I gotta get out of here. I gotta
Little
go.
bird is asleep on the hat, and it's just going. Tweet, 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 tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet.
I'm surprised Scratch eat that cat.
I walk up to Karenina.
Scratch, my dear, how did you enjoy the party? Everyone was just so fascinated by you, you know.
Yes, I saw the one you were drowning in alcohol after she met me.
Oh, I'm sure. Drowning, she can hold her own and float quite well, I assure you. It's been a little while since she's been out, and you are really quite a stunning, unique figure, don't you know?
Yes, I do.
So tell me, I saw you getting quite cozy what the heck was his name again, Brian?
Tretel Osos.
Lord Osos?
Oh, did you forget Lord Ursos' name?
No. Shut the fuck up.
Wow.
And I saw you in quite good conversation with the Lords Osos, or one of them anyway. Tell me, how did you guys get along?
He talks about interesting things.
Oh yes, he does certainly have a...
Unlike you. You could learn something from him.
Yes! Fuck yeah! Put her in her place.
The cattiness finally came from the cat.
Her jaw drops momentarily, and then she just gives a little shake of the head and adjusts her little bird hat. Well, I have to say, you look perfectly beat after this long, arduous evening, like something the cat dragged in. Why don't you go along to bed, then? I'll send up a glass of warm milk. And then she turns and walks away.
Oh.
Yes!
You definitely got her, yeah.
Hell yeah!
So good.
Just with a little smile on his face, he turns around and walks away.
I don't know what this world's equivalent of the fist bump would be, but Flynn offers it to you.
Scratch. Thank you.
Hey, Matt, go ahead and take inspiration.
She's had that coming for a while.
Also, just FYI, when a glass of milk does come up to Scratch's room, but it's in a bowl, like a shallow bowl.
Oh!
That's funny.
That's racist.
Oh, yeah. That totally is.
Funny, racist. What's the real difference?
Yeah, but it's good.
I look at it. This is racist, but still.
Needs more milk.
You drink it anyway.
So you all head back to your rooms, and I'm sure Flynn gives Piper her own glass of warm milk.
That's nasty.
Been sitting on that joke, been waiting for it.
Whoa! The face I'm making right now.
Not the, most conventional of first dates, but I think it went well.
Not the most conventional first dates. Sure. Whatever, Piper.
I would say it had a happy ending.
Pretty sure she's done that for less than
See,
first.
now, Sarah, that's how you get inspiration.
Yeah!
Go ahead and take it.
Huzzah!
So you all finally fall into rest, to sleep. Some of you in food coma, some of you in milk coma, some of you in milk coma.
I heard the quotation marks around that.
You eventually drift off to sleep, and you're resting in the peaceful, perfectly safe, unable for anything terrible to happen castle. And your sleep is interrupted by a blood-curdling scream.
Yep.
Damn it, Jelltur.
Jelltur already halfway out the window. What? What?
I didn't do anything.
This has been the Reliably Chaotic podcast. Champions of Solane is an original Dungeons & Dragons adventure written by Bryan Scharf using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rule set published by Wizards of the Coast. My name is Bryan Scharf, and I've been your DM. You can reach me at ReliableDM on Twitter.
My name is Nicole Summers, and I play Piper.
This is Jair, also known as JJ, and I play the character of Jelltur Jactus.
This is Matthew Reed, and I play Scratch.
This is Andrew Brown, and I play Kreg.
This is Sara, and I performed the role of Vizier Karenina Mabnar.
Theme music by Adrian von Ziegler. All other music by Kevin MacLeod on the Incompetech website and Adrian von Ziegler. Detailed information about music in this episode is provided in its description. Music for this episode was selected by Nicole Summers. The episode was edited by Matthew Reed with assistance from Sara. Contact us on Twitter at Reliably Chaotic, email us at reliablychaotic@gmail.com, or join our Discord server by following the link in our description. If you like our show and would like to support us, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/reliablychaotic or by leaving a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It really does help a lot. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again in our next adventure.
I regret that I only have Kreg to quip at.